Good morning and welcome to the Guiding Light podcast. We are waiting on our guest right now. Today we're meeting with Gregg Collins with ITMC. He should be here in just a moment, but today we're actually talking about communications in the workplace, options that business owners have to be able to provide in communication with their customers, clients, and also internally. So Gregg has just come in. Let's see if we can get him on the screen so we can introduce him. Okay, he's coming in here in just a moment. I hope everybody enjoyed Super Bowl. The commercials were fun, especially the whole Dirty Dancing scene that they played out. So that was a lot of fun to watch. Okay, let's see. Gregg is coming in. He's getting connected. Okay. All right. He's having a little bit of technical issues, so he's going to actually restart and come back in. But a lot of the challenges that we hear from business owners is one, the phone systems. There's a couple of different options that you can take, whether it's a VoIP system or whatever is out there. But what the biggest challenge is being able to integrate these with what you're currently using. So whether you have a CRM system or whether you have like a customer type of database or system that you're using, you can actually integrate your phone system into this to where when the phone rings, you know who that is. So if they're already in the system, you can already have all their information pulled up and all that information. So that's the type of stuff that we're going to be talking to Gregg about today. When he's able to come back in. Says he needs to reboot, so not sure why he's having that issue, but we will definitely work it out and keep in with you guys. So anyway, what I do want you to do is we are broadcasting live on Facebook. I am monitoring for any questions or anything like that that you may have for Gregg or for us in relations to phone systems, communications, and things like that within your company. So let me tell you a little bit about Gregg. Gregg has been in the IT space for, over 30 years. He has an interesting story, and you ought to ask him about it sometime, about the computer that he built in his house. I think it took up the whole basement or something like that, but that was years ago whenever they were like really big. But what he is the president of ITMC. It's IT Management Consulting. He helps companies manage their technology from strategy to sourcing out operations. So essentially, to translate that, he basically comes in, he evaluates what you need, and then he utilizes the tools to be able to put those in place to make you guys more effective, to also make it cost effective as well. So he's very conscious to that. And Gregg is one of the most articulate, detail-oriented people that I know. So if you've got Gregg out there working on your stuff, you can rest assured that it's going to be done correctly and it's going to work. Now, prior to starting ITMC, Gregg held a senior management position in corporate America. Again, he did that for over 30 years. Today, what he's done is he's applying all of those things that he learned and using that for small business owners to be able to improve their bottom line, especially when it comes to tech. Now, Gregg is really good at backups. He's very good at troubleshooting things and that type of a situation, to where like I said, you basically make it from start to finish on everything that you do to keep it effective. Let's see. I think we have a question coming through on social media. Let's see. Okay. Yes. Gregg is going to talk about VoIP systems. And it's not just a VoIP system that you actually need. Well, Gregg needs to come in and explain this, but he's not back yet. So what we need to do is, let's see. All right. I was just checking to see if he had come back in yet. One thing that we can do is with VoIP, it's not just about the system it is. Some of those systems rely on internet. And I don't know about you, but the cable company that I use, they're really good whenever they're up, but when they're down, it like really stinks. So whenever you have a phone system that's relying on internet, I know from Gregg and the conversations that we've had that you need like a backup internet type of system to fall back on. So that way your phone systems work and it doesn't completely shut you down, whether you're using cloud-based systems or whatever for your databases. So that's something that Gregg is also going to be talking about today. Let's see, what else was there? I think there was another question that we had as well that we're going to be talking about. One thing to keep in mind is that a lot of times business owners don't really get that they have a problem until it's too late. Okay. Either their system's gone down, their phones are down, customers or clients are complaining about their experience whenever they called into the location, things like that. And another thing that Gregg has also mentioned is that for businesses that have multi-locations, a lot of times what you have to do is whenever you call, and I know I get frustrated at this, whenever I call one location and let's say that person's working in another location that day, that I have to hang up and call back the other location and then ask to speak to that person. I think he's got something in place to where you can actually transfer that information over to that other location without making the customer actually go back and call the other location. So that makes it very customer friendly. Let's see. There's Gregg. Hey, Gregg.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. We can hear you just fine. I was just trying to fill up some airspace. So I did introduce you already, and we were talking about some of the things that we're going to cover today. So it's good to see you. Okay. Now it says he's reconnecting. There, he's back again. Hey, it's good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you, Rochelle. How are you?
Yes, doing good. So you survived Super Bowl.
I did survive Super Bowl. Great game. Condolences to all my New England friends. Got plenty of them in the Northeast and elsewhere.
There you go. There you go. So did you get through the Dirty Dancing commercial?
I don't think I saw that one.
Okay, the one where they're actually acting out the Dirty Dancing scene with Patrick Swayze and where he lifts him up over the top with the big jump and holds them there. I was just like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
I think do you know what I'm talking about now?
Maybe. I saw a commercial after the game with Eli. And yeah, so anyway.
Yes, that's the one. I think everybody's talking about Super Bowl, but I think they're talking about that commercial a lot as well.
I didn't see them all. Everybody has to take a break, a commercial break, so don't miss the game. But understand.
Got it. Got it. Okay. All right. So I think the best place to start, like I said, I already introduced you. I was kind of going over some of the talking points we're going to talk about. What are the different phone system options that small business owners have?
Oh, well, there's plenty. Old school is what we call POTS, plain old telephone service, an analog line. That's what we grew up with in our homes. Still available today. Some businesses have that. Not very flexible, maybe one or two lines, no real business phone system, just a couple of phones they can answer. Then there's premise-based key systems or PBX systems. Think of as a business or a small office telephone system. You might have digital phones through the facility, some kind of equipment in the back room that ties all that together. It allows you to do things like, extension to extension or desk to desk dialing, conference calls, things of that nature. Moving down the line with the evolution of telecom, really, there's voice over IP based systems that really operate over the internet. And I would say really the latest state of the art technology there is with a hosted platform or a cloud based telecom solution. An industry buzzword for that is UCaaS, stands for Unified Communications as a Service. So we're really talking about a whole lot more than just a telephone. It does all that, and it does it very well, but it really integrates with the other kinds of systems and tools and tech that people use, computers and cell phones and that kind of thing. As a service means it's in the cloud. It gets the equipment out of the back room and puts it in a real data center where it's robust and reliable.
Got it. A lot of people in the cloud, and they get a little worried about that. So what are translate in the cloud for me?
In the cloud. Well, it really just means hosted somewhere out there on the internet. Okay. So when we talk about cloud, we're talking about internet connected systems. Facebook, for example, is a cloud service. Okay, nobody really installs Facebook. They get to it through the web. They might have an app on their cell phone, but everything that to do with Facebook is hosted out there in the internet, in the cloud.
So it's sitting on an actual computer somewhere or inside of a data center. It's actually on a machine. I had one business owner that looked up in the sky and they said, "So you mean my website's up there?" And I'm like, "No, no, it's not." And it's funny that a lot of people have misconceptions to a lot of the terminology that is used in some of this, and it scares the dickens out of them. They don't know if they can trust systems like that if it's in the cloud. But if you tell them, no, a cloud is basically just a server that's accessible through the internet. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. So that does make sense. Now,
another point, Rochelle, I want to mention is, the nice thing about cloud is it's available from anywhere. Okay.
Right.
So as long as you've got a connection to the internet, you can get to your services. So you can move around. You can get to your cloud-based system from your office, from your home, from wherever you are with your cell phone or your laptop. So.
Got it. So as that relates to like phone systems, because I know you've talked about this quite a bit in our conversations that we've had. This basically makes a phone system where it could virtually be available anywhere. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So people that are on the road, but yet they have an office, or your sales reps even that are out there on the road, they still have access to the same phone systems that they would use like inside the office, because it can also be ported to cell phones. Isn't that correct?
That's right. Moving your telecom to the cloud really provides a lot of flexibility and capability that typically is not available in a traditional or a premise-based phone system.
Got it. Okay. And as far as integration of phone systems, I was talking a little bit about, and you and I had talked about a dentist office that you worked with, and you basically set up their whole customer portal. And it was really cool that they were able to better serve their patients. When they called, their information just popped up on the screen. So the person answering the phone, the receptionist, was able to know, oh, this is John. He has an appointment coming up Thursday. And you already had all that information up there. Rather, before you would have to say, okay, what's your name? And then look them up. Isn't that correct?
That's a great point, Rochelle, and it's another benefit of cloud-based systems. When we say UCaaS, the last part of that, as a service, means that all of that is delivered to the end customer, and it's continually being improved and evolved without the customer having to install updates or anything like that. It's just provided with the service. So these things are always getting better, and so there are a lot of integrations available with UCaaS systems. So the example you're talking about, was for a specific vertical integration with a leading practice management software suite for dental. So this is where they keep all of their patient records, everything from appointment data, family members, account balances, charts, everything. And when a call comes in based on that inbound caller ID in this integration, it can pull that information from that practice management system and put that information right on the screen immediately on the first ring. So that the people answering the phones can see who's calling, but it really helps them remember the person. They're putting a face to a name, because most practice will take a picture of their patients, and that goes into the database as well. So it pops a picture up, helps them put a name to a face. It's got all the account information right there. So it really supports a very positive customer service experience for the patient, and it makes the process more efficient. Information at their fingertips. They don't have to go look something up somewhere else, put the person on hold or whatever. But that's one example. And the list of integrations that we have is huge, and it continues to grow. So various CRM systems, you name it. So yeah, big trend in UCaaS. Not that kind of thing hadn't been around for years, even in traditional on-premise PBX systems, but tended to be much more expensive, much less attainable, and far less choice. And anytime you wanted to do something like that, it was a custom integration at additional expense. And for the most part, these cloud-based integrations are just part of the service.
Got it. Okay. All right. So it also has like call recording and things like that. So a lot of business owners that want to make sure that their workers are being kind and, things like that to the people that call in, and it allows them to troubleshoot a lot of things and a lot of problems that they may have, whether it be their business or their practice. Isn't that correct, that they also do have call recording?
Yes, call recording is an option. We've got a couple different flavors there, but as you mentioned, we have the ability to record calls for some employees, all employees, on an every call basis or a per call basis. And there's also abilities for a supervisor or manager to monitor a call, either silently or with what we call barge-in capability, where they can join the call. And provide capabilities to download all of those call recordings so that they can be stored and archived locally. They might be indexed against whatever business software system they use or CRM.
Got it.
But going beyond call recording, another feature is what's called contact center or call center. And this really takes that to the next level, provides online dashboards that management can use to really see what's happening in real time with their phone systems. They can see, so if you're talking larger, customer service departments, or I guess it has to be large. It might be, 3 people, 5 or 10, or it could be 100, but you can see what people are on the phone, how long they've been on a call, who they're on a call with, how many people are waiting on hold. And you can get a lot of analytics out of that. So you can really see, who handles customer calls most efficiently, who's able to take and close the call most quickly, how do they do that, and really help the organization improve overall. So a lot of great visibility for management into what's happening at any point in time, and they can, real time, and they can go back and look at the history as well.
Got it. Well, I know a lot of business owners have a huge concern with the cost effectiveness of doing something like that. Of course, I'm always kind of like, you have to weigh the cost with the benefits. I'm one of those type of people. But how, what is the cost of implementing something like this into a company?
Well, using cloud,
per user.
Using cloud-based UCaaS, it doesn't have to be much at all. And this is another area where it really contrasts for the traditional premise-based system. with cloud, you don't have to implement hardware to do this. Okay, it's all on the server provider side. So if you're recording calls, that takes storage space, right? But that's not something that a local business has to do unless they want to bring it down to their own system and archive that. There's no need to install hardware. It's just part of the cloud service. So, and one of the solutions we offer is just priced on a monthly basis. So there's no upfront capital investment to be made for that. So this really removes the cash flow. It becomes an operational cost, not a capital investment. And it's very, very reasonable.
Got it. Okay. All right. So as far as networking, here's one thing that I also mentioned before you came on, that was pretty impressive. And I know I get so mad whenever I call and I'm trying to get a hold of somebody and they may be working at one of the other locations that the business has. And it's so frustrating to say, oh, you need to call our whatever office. And I'm like, okay, that is so frustrating. I may be driving down the road. I can't write down the phone number and I don't want to go do another Google search to try to figure out where they are and everything. So with a phone system like what is out there that we're talking about, it also supports multi-locations to where they can transfer that call from one location to another, does it not?
That's right. So if you're in a business that's got multiple offices, or if you've got people that work from home offices, or if you've got people that are just in the field working out of their truck all the time, it doesn't matter. They can all be connected through the cloud like they're all sitting in the same office.
Awesome.
And you can still have phone numbers for each different location that point directly into that location. So if a business has a branch in Tupelo and they have a branch in Memphis and one in Birmingham, they might all have different local numbers pointing in. But you can do things like just transfer a call from one location to another, just desk to desk, like they're in the room next door. And you can even do things with to help you with call flow across sites. So let's say you've got a call coming in to the Tupelo location, and all the people are busy, so they can't answer the phone. It rings 3 times. Well, we can do an overflow and have somebody in the Birmingham office pick it up, for instance. The caller never really knows, and then the person in the Birmingham office can see just by looking at their telephone if there's a line that becomes available back in Tupelo where the customer was originally calling. They can just transfer that call right over. Something else, ask me a little bit more about this, but because these things are hosted in the internet, let's say that an internet connection goes down at the Tupelo office. This is another case where that call can automatically fail over or route to one of the other business locations, or to somebody in the field, or to a cell phone. So that internet outage in Tupelo, for whatever reason, does not have to impact their telephone service. So all of that kind of functionality is afforded by having a cloud-based service. Key to making that work is how you set it up.
Okay, got it. Now, phone systems are great and everything. However, a lot of them depend on internet to function. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I wanted you to ask me about. Absolutely. And this
I tell you what, cable companies are great and internet providers are great while they're working. But when they go down, you're just kind of like, whatever. And it's the worst day ever. Your phones go out. You can't access, systems and things like that are in place. So what are some of the options that small business owners have to prevent this issue?
Well, there are a lot. And, one of the things you mentioned, some of the people I talk with have an objection to internet-based services just for that reason, okay, and cloud-based services, because they've had poor experience with their internet connection. When it's down, they can't get to it. Whatever it is, it could be their phone system, it could be their point of sale system, it could be, credit card authorizations at point of sale in retail. It could be, just any number of things. But the reality is, we can configure their network connectivity to really improve the availability and make sure that it's there. And again, even if it's not, there's a number of things we can do specific to telephone service that keep that phone service working even without an internet connection. But
got it. Aren't there backup internet systems out there to where if your internet does go down at the office, there's like a backup internet that you can fall back on?
We've got a number of ways to do that. So you might have a primary high-speed connection, but alongside that, you could put in a secondary connection, lower cost, lower capacity. Let's say they're using cable broadband for the primary, which tends to be very fast, good bang for the buck there. But if that goes down, they could fail over to, say, a DSL line, typically not nearly as fast, but it's a totally separate service, totally separate type of technology. So if the cable internet is down, chances are the other one's up. So we can automatically fail over to that. Another great solution is using a wireless cellular connection, LTE, for instance.
Got it. Those are the ones I'm more familiar with than any of the others. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Now, Gregg, what got you started in ITMC? Why did you even open the company?
Well, it was totally unexpected, and I don't know if you talked about my background before I came on the call, but I spent 30 years in enterprise IT. So I really never expected to be a tech consultant in small business. But the way that came about, we were having dinner one evening with friends in a very popular restaurant, and one that we'd been to a number of times. And we were all around the table, and everybody seemed to be having the same problem. They're trying to get to something on their cell phone, whether it's, email, movie times, whatever. People are looking at their cell phones and they can't connect. So the owner of the restaurant stops by and just say, hey, and how's it going? And I said, hey, we can never get on the internet here. Now you've got this internet, this Wi-Fi service. We can see it, we can connect to it, but it doesn't work well. And there's no cell phone signal strength in this building, no bars because of metal cladding and just where he's located. So he said, yeah, I know it's a real problem. And I said, well, I can help you with it. So we went there enough to where I wanted that problem to be solved. So he gave us a shot. But what it did, I really realized at that point, there's a lot of great technology companies, IT service providers here in Tupelo. So I'm thinking, hey, this is covered, right? But I started thinking about it, and I realized that there are a lot of underserved small businesses in the area. They might have a lot of technology, but it's not working well for them. They're not getting the value out of it that they should. It's either just not properly configured or managed or for whatever reason. And so I wanted to fill that need. Got
it. Yeah, we were talking earlier about you don't really realize there's a problem until there's a problem. And that's a lot of times people are just going around putting out fires rather than preventing the fires to begin with.
That's right.
So yeah, so that's an awesome story though. I don't think I've ever heard that one before, but just so much time has passed.
I want to tell you something about your previous question. So you asked about failover, and I'll tell you that I've had a lot of interest in those failover solutions. I only touched on a couple. We've got a lot more. We can really do some very, very robust things with network and SD-WAN. But on the very, very simple side of things, when people don't want to invest in that secondary connection, and by the way, it doesn't have to cost much at all, but when they just don't want to take that step, according to one study, they say 72% of internet outage problems can be resolved by rebooting the router or the internet gateway that the internet provider puts on the site. And I'd say that's pretty accurate. But they always go down at the worst time in a crisis, in a rush hour or whatever, when the manager's not on site or there's nobody that really knows where that box is or exactly what to do with it to reset it. So we can do intelligent power management on a site that will automatically reboot that gateway. It's a very inexpensive solution. And hey, if the internet connection is down anyway, it's not going to hurt to reboot that thing, but it becomes a totally automated process.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yep.
That's cool. Okay. All right. So how can people get in touch with you, Gregg?
Phone number is 662-205-5885. 888-5161, or
Okay.
on the web. We expect to have a website up pretty soon. It's about that time.
Maybe.
www.itmc.tech. Right now, that'll forward to my LinkedIn page, so people
Got
get
it.
a little
Got
bit
it.
more on my background. But that'll go to our website soon.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Well, anything in closing, some kind of little tip that you can give to our audience just about just a takeaway, just real quick, a takeaway.
Well, it starts with a plan. So technology tends to be an afterthought. This is even for companies that are, new construction. And it comes right down, I tend to take a holistic view on everything, but, it comes all the way down to the cabling in the walls. So this is often an oversight. Buildings get built without enough wiring to cover all the different technology that they need. Then plan your network. Allow space, okay, because it does take a little bit of room to put your network switches and your routers and your different things. You want that to be in a secure area. Often that's not a part of the floor plan. So it really needs to be physically secure. If the company has any kind of compliance regulations they need to follow, most do. If you take credit cards, PCI compliance. If you're in healthcare or dental, HIPAA compliance. So physical security is very important. You want that in a locked room or closet, and not shoved up under the counter at the point of sale or in the back room where the cable comes in from the internet service provider. So just foundational things. It starts from there.
Got it.
But plan for outages. Hire someone that can set your phone system up properly to handle those call flows when the internet is down. Get a backup connection in place so that you can rely on your technology. It's there when you need it, and you don't have to fight it when you're in the middle of your rush hour.
Got it. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share a few links that we've talked about today, just so people can get a little bit more information about some of the things that we've talked about, and also a link to how to connect with you. So if you didn't get his phone number, didn't get his email address, you're definitely free to rewind, or you can just click down below, and I'll have some links down there in the comments and show notes and things like that. So Gregg, I really appreciate you coming in today. Hopefully you'll come back at some point. You can catch us on Crowdcast. We're also on YouTube. Make sure and subscribe so that way you get notifications of upcoming shows. We've got some good stuff in the works coming up. And as always, you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Gregg. All right, bye.